The night before my wedding was supposed to be spent imagining the future, but instead, I was staring at a picture from the past. Claire's first love, Julian, had just posted a photo on his social media page. It was a close-up of his hand, and on his finger was a sapphire diamond ring. I didn't have to look twice. I recognized it instantly. It was our wedding ring, the one I had spent half a year designing and crafting myself. There wasn't another one like it anywhere in the world, and now it was on his hand. I lay awake the entire night. The image burned into my mind. The next morning when I saw her, I told her calmly that it was over between us. Claire's face remained perfectly composed, a carefully constructed mask. "Alex, we're getting married tomorrow," she said, her voice even. "Think about what you're doing. Don't make a decision you're going to regret." "I won't," I replied, my own voice hollow. Later that night, my phone rang. It was Claire, her words slurred by alcohol. "Alex, where are you? I came home and you're not here." Her call came hours after I had confronted her. After I saw Julian's post, I had gone to her office and told her I wanted to end things. She had just stared at me then, disbelief warring with annoyance in her eyes. "Break up? Our wedding is in 2 weeks. All the invitations have been sent out. And you want to break up with me now?" I didn't feel the need to respond to her questions. Instead, I reached into my bag and pulled out a document I had prepared, a detailed list of all the assets she had given me over the years. I spread the papers out on the desk in front of her. "Yes, we're breaking up," I said. "I don't want to keep anything that you've given me. I just want out of this relationship." I got engaged to Claire when I was 24 and she was 27. I moved into her villa almost immediately afterward. I had always believed that marriage was the inevitable conclusion for us. A sure thing. So, over the 2 years we lived together, I didn't think twice about accepting the expensive gifts she showered on me. The luxury watches, the high-end cars, the stocks, and even properties in my name. Now that we were going our separate ways, it felt necessary to settle all accounts. Claire gave the list a cursory glance, her expression never changing, and then tossed it aside as if it were meaningless. "Why?" she asked, her gaze finally meeting mine. She paused for a moment before adding, "Is it because Julian wore your ring? I'm sorry about that. I didn't realize it was the wedding ring. I've already sent my assistant to retrieve it. You should have it back soon." She was still so detached, so unbelievably calm, but I couldn't contain the anger that was boiling inside me. "It took me 6 months to make that ring," I said, my voice rising. "I crafted it with my own hands. It was supposed to represent all of my dedication and my hopes for our love. After I finished it, I couldn't even bring myself to wear it once. I kept it locked away in the safe at home, waiting for our wedding day. And yet, I'm out of town for business for just 2 weeks, and you give it away to Julian? You have no idea how it felt to see that ring on his hand." And now, she was just casually brushing it off, saying she didn't know. Did she truly not know, or did she just not care? Does a simple "I didn't know" erase the betrayal? I finally exploded. "Enough! This time it was the wedding ring. What's it going to be next? Am I supposed to give up my side of the bed to make room for him? If that's where this is headed, isn't it better for me to just get out of your way now?" At that, she looked up at me, a flicker of irritation crossing her features, as if she couldn't comprehend why I was making such a big deal out of it. She slipped into her familiar lecture mode. "Alex, if this is just about jealousy, it's completely unnecessary. You should know that our marriage is more of a strategic partnership than a fairy tale romance. No one can threaten your position. I'll forgive your outburst this time, but don't ever bring up breaking up again." She then pulled a black credit card from her wallet and slid it across the desk toward me. "There's $5 million on this card. Consider it compensation for your hurt feelings." I stared coldly at the piece of plastic, my mind going numb. Claire was always about business. Everything was a transaction, and it seemed our marriage was no different in her eyes. When we first started seeing each other, she was always cold and distant. As we got closer, she started to make demands, subtly trying to mold me into her version of the perfect trophy husband. But she overlooked one crucial detail. A trophy husband only needs to be presentable and compliant. As her future husband, however, I loved her. That was the part she never seemed to grasp. Because I loved her, I could never be as cold and detached as she was. And I could never, ever accept a third person in our marriage, especially not Julian. He was her great, unfulfilled romance, her high school sweetheart, the one that got away. A tear fell onto the back of my hand, startling me back to the present. I quickly wiped it away, pushed the credit card back in her direction, and forced a smile that didn't reach my eyes. No, thank you, Claire. We're not right for each other. It's better if we just end things here. No one tells Claire Dawson no. She's a titan in the world of finance, admired by everyone, and possessed of an unshakable pride. When I stood my ground and insisted on leaving, she didn't argue further. Fine, she said, her voice sharp. Just don't come to regret this. What's been given is given. Claire, I'm not desperate for your money, I said, picking up the list of assets and taking the credit card as well. Okay, no regrets. I took a breath. I've already called a moving company. They'll be here soon, so it might get a little loud. Sorry for the disturbance. Claire lit a slim cigarette, her expression completely indifferent. It's fine. With that final word, I turned and walked away, calling the movers to let them know they could come inside. Take everything that belongs to a man out of this house, I instructed the foreman. In the bedroom, I carefully packed all the luxury watches and accessories into the safe, and then gave them specific instructions. Please be very careful with this. There are fragile items inside the safe. 3 hours later, the sprawling villa felt cavernously empty. I took one last, lingering look at the place I had considered my home for the past 3 years. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Claire leaning against the doorframe, her head bowed, a strange, unreadable expression on her face. I wasn't going to say another goodbye. I turned to leave, but just then, I saw Julian arriving. He walked toward me, his eyes looking like he was on the verge of tears, and he grabbed my hand. In a whiny, passive-aggressive tone, he began his performance. Alex, I am so sorry. I had no idea this ring was so important to you. I just thought it was a beautiful design, so I asked Claire if I could have it. I just figured you have so many nice things, and I don't really have anything. I never thought you'd mind. Please don't be angry. I'll give it back to you right now. He then made a show of trying to pull the ring off his finger, but after a few seconds of struggling, it wouldn't move. His hand was just getting red and irritated. I had to laugh, a bitter, angry sound. This wasn't an apology. It was a deliberate provocation. If he were genuinely sorry, he wouldn't have shown up here wearing my wedding ring in the first place. This whole pathetic act was for the benefit of a specific audience. Sure enough, a moment later, Claire walked over. She took Julian's hand in hers, her face etched with concern. If you can't get it off, then just leave it. You're going to hurt yourself. She then turned to me. How about this, Alex? I'll buy it from you for $3 million. Julian looked up at Claire with an expression of pure adoration, his eyes shimmering with emotion. I just stood there in front of them, watching this sickeningly sweet display, and I could feel my vision start to blur with rage. It's not for sale, I ground out. I designed that wedding ring for myself. Now take it off. Claire frowned, her annoyance clear. Julian clung to her arm and said in a mock understanding tone, Claire, it's Alex's to begin with. I really should give it back. He then went into the nearby bathroom, lathered his hand with a generous amount of soap, and finally managed to slide the ring off. He held it out to me. I reached out to take it, but the moment I saw it up close, my anger surged anew. "You had the ring resized?" He cowered behind Claire, putting on an act of being frightened. "It was a little big on me, so I had it adjusted. I'm so sorry. I'll find a jeweler to change it back for you right away." I couldn't hold back any longer. I slapped him hard across the face. "You made it smaller! How are you supposed to change it back? Julian, you are absolutely disgusting." "Alex!" Claire screamed, stepping in front of Julian to shield him. "Don't you dare go too far. I'm the one who gave him the ring. Why are you taking it out on him instead of me?" I gave her a cold, hard look. I had almost forgotten about the main person responsible for all of this. I raised my hand and slapped her too. Claire's face instantly darkened with fury. "You think I'm not disgusted by you?" I spat. "You and Julian are both disgusting to me. Get out of my sight, and don't ever show your faces to me again." With that, I walked out with the movers, not bothering to look back or care about the expressions on their faces. After I settled into my new apartment, my best friend Ben came over to help me unpack. The moment I saw him, the dam of composure I had built up completely broke. I hugged him and just sobbed. "Ben, the ring. I spent 6 months making that ring, and that bastard wore it." He cursed under his breath while patting my back, trying to comfort me. "It's okay, man, it's okay, it's fine. How about this? I'll have someone make you a new one, my treat, okay?" I cried, for what felt like a long time, before I finally managed to calm down. The new apartment was in a state of chaos. I wiped the tears from my face and started unpacking boxes. The contents of the safe were a jumbled mess, all the expensive accessories having been tossed in together. My eyes immediately fell upon the engagement gift Claire had given me, now shattered into pieces. It was a custom tourbillon watch, a masterpiece of exquisite and complex engineering, now broken. Just like our relationship, my relationship with Claire was something that was orchestrated by her father from the beginning. My dad and Mr. Dawson were business partners. When I was a kid, my dad was always dragging me along to dinners with Mr. Dawson. From the very start, he seemed to take a liking to me. He would laugh and joke about me becoming his son-in-law someday, and would always tell Claire to come and play with me. My family wasn't on the same level of wealth as the Dawsons, so my dad constantly told me to spend more time with Claire and do my best to keep her happy. But she was always so distant and cold. Most of the time, we would just sit in silence in the same room, each of us absorbed in our own things. But as a young boy, I really did develop a crush on this beautiful, aloof older girl. I thought she would always be like that, cold and unapproachable to everyone. That was until she turned 17 and met Julian. They had a wild, passionate romance at school. It was hard to believe. Claire, a socialite who had been groomed from birth for a certain kind of life, was suddenly skipping school and getting into fights, all for Julian. To force them to break up, her mother threatened to send her to study abroad. But Claire stood her ground, declaring, "Julian is the light of my life. I won't be with anyone but him." But Julian's family background was a complete mess. His father was a kept man for some wealthy woman in their social circle, which made Julian an illegitimate son. There was absolutely no way the prestigious Dawson family would allow someone like that to marry into their family. So, Mr. Dawson played his final card. He offered Julian $30 million and a ticket to study abroad, on the one condition that he break up with Claire for good. Julian agreed without hesitation, took the money, and disappeared. From that day forward, Claire hated her father. She was an emotional wreck for 6 months. Then, just before her college entrance exams, she suddenly buried herself in her studies and transformed back into the old Claire. The only difference was that she was no longer close with her family. When I was 23, something seemed to shift. I don't know what changed, but she suddenly agreed to start seeing me. From that point on, things just fell into place. We dated, got engaged, and moved in together. Now, she's at the absolute peak of her career, the one in charge of the entire Dawson family fortune. Her old flame is back in the country, so of course, Claire couldn't wait to rekindle things with him. Tears dripped down my face as I replayed the memories. I picked up the pieces of the broken watch and threw them into the trash can. If you don't cut your losses, you'll just end up in more trouble. It was time to make a clean break. The next day, Ben and I bought plane tickets and flew to Miami for a much-needed vacation. The beautiful scenery was healing, and the vibrant world under the sea was breathtaking. One afternoon, as we were sunbathing on the beach, I received a friend request on my phone. I had a gut feeling it was Julian. Sure enough, I had blocked his main account, but he had simply used a burner account to add me again. A second later, a picture of a ring appeared in my messages, accompanied by a smug caption. "Alex, it seems like Claire cares more about me, doesn't she?" At the exact same moment, Ben let out a yell and shoved his phone in my face. "Dude, Alex, you have to see this. That shameless bastard." I took his phone. Julian had made a new post on his social media. His eyes were red-rimmed, as if he'd been crying, and he was wearing a ring on his ring finger. The caption read, "I knew you wouldn't let me get hurt." In his years abroad, he had managed to become a fairly popular male influencer. The comment section was filled with fans shipping them as a couple, all trying to guess who the mysterious girl was. Ben, seeing Julian's blatant provocation, went straight to the comments and started tearing into him. "Why are you so proud of being a kept man? Your dad was a kept man, and now you are too. Is it some kind of family tradition?" I took the phone from him and went to Julian's profile. It was filled with evidence of his affair with Claire. The earliest post was from Valentine's Day 6 months ago. Claire was at an amusement park with him, watching a fireworks display. My heart felt like it was being stabbed with 1,000 needles. That was the day Claire and I had planned to go out for a romantic dinner, but I had come down with a terrible flu and was running a high fever. I couldn't even get out of bed. When Claire found out I was sick, she just said coolly over the phone, "Then I'll cancel the dinner reservation. You get some rest at home." I had been so disappointed and hurt by her indifference. I wanted to say more, but she had already hung up. She never even sent a single text to check on me after that. I just assumed she was busy with work. I never imagined she was off watching fireworks with Julian. To be honest, I knew there had been problems in our relationship for a while. I had noticed she was distracted and distant ever since Julian came back to the country at the beginning of the year. I had fought with her about it many times, but she would always just ignore the issue and then try to smooth things over by buying me another expensive watch or a new sports car. This painful back and forth had been torturing me for a solid 6 months. I turned off my phone and let out a long, slow breath. My chaotic emotions slowly began to settle. Whatever was going on between Claire and Julian, it had nothing to do with me anymore. After a week of vacation, my dad found out about the breakup and called me. He talked for a long time, trying to convince me to stop being so difficult. He kept going on about how powerful Claire was, telling me that it was normal for a successful woman like her to have a few men around, and that I needed to be more magnanimous and understanding. The most important thing, he said, was to secure my position as the Dawson family's son-in-law. His words just made me feel worse. "But Dad, I've loved Claire for 12 years. This is killing me. I can't accept her being with other men." The other end of the line went silent. After a long pause, a different voice came through. It was Claire. "My relationship with Julian isn't what you think. Come back, and I can explain everything." She paused, as if she was making a great concession. "Alex, you're the only one for me." I did go back, but not because of what Claire said. It was because Mr. Dawson wanted to see me. He had always been good to me, and I couldn't bear the thought of disappointing him. When I arrived at the Dawson family home, Claire was on the sofa, sipping tea and watching the financial news channel. In the living room, Mr. Dawson took my hand warmly. "Alex, did Claire make you angry again? You tell me what she did, and I'll teach her a lesson for you." I glanced over at Claire. She looked perfectly composed, calmly drinking her tea as if nothing was wrong. Had she not told her father that we had broken up? After a moment of hesitation, I said, "Mr. Dawson, we've already broken up." There was a sharp, grating sound as Claire's teacup scraped across the saucer. She turned and stared at me, her face a blank mask. "Are you serious? If you break up with me, what happens to your family's company?" Mr. Dawson looked stunned. "Alex, what's going on? Why do you have to break up?" I clenched my fists and forced a reassuring smile. "It's nothing, Mr. Dawson. We're just not a good fit for each other. Thank you for all the help Claire has given our company over the years. As for the future, you don't need to worry about us anymore. Mr. Dawson, I just got back to town. I'm going to head home now, but I'll come visit you again soon." When I got home, my dad threw a teacup at my feet in a fit of rage. "What the hell is wrong with you? Haven't I taught you that it doesn't matter if Claire has other men? You're the main one. Can't you stop being so damn petty?" I pressed my lips together and said nothing. My family owns a small company. We were never fabulously wealthy, but we lived comfortably. From a young age, my dad had sent me to all sorts of classes: business seminars, horseback riding, and golf lessons, doing everything he could to shape me into a business elite. His ultimate goal was to use me to form a connection with the powerful Dawson family and elevate our own family's social status. Seeing me standing there silently, he sighed in frustration. You've just ruined our family's future. All those years I spent building connections. Was it all for nothing?" He was furious, leaning against the sofa, his chest heaving. I walked over and started massaging his temples. "Dad, I can't live like that anymore, just swallowing my pride and pretending everything is okay." He was quiet for a long time before finally letting out a deep sigh. "Claire is the most decent and powerful woman you'll find in this circle." Seeing my dad like this, I felt a sharp pang of guilt. Even though he was obsessed with climbing the social ladder, he had always been good to me. I'm his only son, and he poured all of his energy and hopes into me. "Dad, I'll work hard to give you a better life from now on," I said gently, trying to soothe his anger. It made him chuckle, a humorless sound. "You? You can't even handle a little hardship. How are you going to manage that?" I didn't tell him that I had actually learned a great deal about business during my time with Claire. The very next day I started working at my family's company to learn the ropes. A month later I started my own small company. My family's business was in traditional, classic menswear, but I wanted to focus on trendy, accessible luxury fashion for men. When I was with Claire, I often accompanied her to high-profile fashion shows and luxury boutiques. That experience had given me a sharp eye for trends and a good sense of style. In the third month after founding my company, a winter coat we featured on our live stream went viral. My company was off to a fantastic start. But then, problems began to arise. The manufacturer called and said they couldn't produce so many coats in such a short amount of time. No inventory meant we couldn't ship the orders we had already taken. If we waited too long, customers would get angry and start canceling. Just as our brand's reputation was taking off, it would plummet. I called the manufacturer to ask what was going on. The person on the other end of the line was evasive, hinting that I might have offended someone important recently. Offended someone? Who could I possibly have offended? I racked my brain until that evening, when I was scrolling on my phone in bed and came across Julian's account. He was wearing a coat that was strikingly similar to the one from our live stream, with a shopping link right below it. I was furious. I immediately called Claire and told her to get Julian under control. After listening to my story, she replied in her usual calm, detached tone. "What Julian does has nothing to do with me. But Alex, I can solve this problem for you. Just come back to me." "You must be dreaming," I laughed out of pure anger and cursed her out. "Go to hell." After hanging up, still seething, I found Julian's profile and ripped into him in his direct messages. But then Claire's number lit up my screen again. I declined the call. She called back, over and over again. "What do you want?" I finally answered, my harsh tone making her pause. "Alex, I'm downstairs from your apartment," she said. "Come down and let's talk." I got up and went downstairs. She was leaning against her sleek sports car. When she saw me, she straightened up. "What is there to talk about?" I asked impatiently. She looked tired, pinching the bridge of her nose. "Alex, Julian and I are in the past. There's no future for us. I need you to stop overthinking things. It's hurting our relationship." I looked at her coldly. Relationship? What relationship could we possibly have? Is it the relationship where I'm at home burning up with a fever on Valentine's Day while you're out watching fireworks with Julian? Or is it the relationship where you give my wedding ring to him? Now you're telling me you're not satisfied with what you got? At this, Claire fell silent and lit a cigarette. "You know he was the person I used to love the most. I just wanted to say a proper goodbye to the past. Can't I even be allowed to reminisce? The ring was my mistake. I'm sorry, I apologize. Come back, Alex. I'm not used to you being gone." Claire lowered her head, a rare sign of vulnerability. In the time I had been gone, the villa had felt empty to her. Every time she came home, she was no longer greeted by my happy smile or my gentle voice. She had never noticed it when we were together, but after I left, she felt a profound and unsettling loneliness. She was almost afraid of that empty house. It got to the point where she didn't want to go back to a place without me. Only a place with me in it could feel like home. I just felt annoyed. Claire was always so decisive and ruthless in business. I never expected her to be so indecisive when it came to her feelings. Right now, she was radiating a sense of loneliness, as if she were genuinely sad. I think she really knew she was wrong. But what difference did that make now? I had shown her pictures of the ring. She knew it was the wedding ring I had designed. It was always kept in the safe in our bedroom. But she still brought Julian back to our home, even into our bedroom. She watched as Julian put on my wedding ring. For a moment, she must have been lost in memories of the past, which is why she let him take the ring. Or maybe she offered it to him herself, as a way to fulfill a long-lost dream from her youth. Either way, it was something I could never accept. And it proved that she and Julian still had lingering feelings for each other. So where did that leave me? Weren't you two already in the past? What's there to reminisce about when you're with me? Claire, you're proud and arrogant. You never thought Julian would abandon you, but you were shocked when he took the money and left. That's why you couldn't let him go all these years. You hated him, but you loved him too. At 27, you thought you were over him, so you got engaged to me. But the moment he reappeared, your eyes were on him again. You were engaged to me, but you still let him get close to you. Now that you two are back together, what does that make me? My face was etched with sorrow, and Claire panicked. She pulled me into a hug, her explanation weak and pale. No, that's not it. I never wanted to break up with you. It doesn't matter anymore. I shoved her away forcefully. Get Julian under control. Keep him from disgusting me again, or I won't be able to hold back. And you, stay out of my life, too. Claire's eyes turned red, full of confusion. Alex, you've changed. You used to love me so much. I stared straight at her. You said it yourself. That was the past. I haven't changed. I just don't love you anymore. Claire froze, then left, looking completely shattered. The next day, the news that the heiress of the Dawson Group was officially in a relationship was trending online. Julian posted about it and even sent me photos of them holding hands, just to rub it in my face. I ignored him. Then, he showed up at my office. Well, if it isn't Alex, long time no see. I found a spot and sat down with him. What do you want? He gave me a smug smile, slowly setting down his bag and ordering 2 coffees. I heard you started a business recently. Claire gave me some money, and I've been a little bored. How about you sell me your company? It could be a fun little toy for me to play with. My blood pressure shot up. The company I had poured my heart and soul into, a toy for him? If there's nothing else, I'm leaving. As I stood up, he grabbed my sleeve, his face a mask of innocence. Hey, don't be so mad. I just wanted to ask, how did you take care of Claire? She can't seem to stop thinking about you. I didn't answer. He stood up and got uncomfortably close, lowering his voice. Did you sleep with her? How was it? I had her back in high school. It took a lot of effort to teach her a thing or two, you know? You really lucked out. Are you done? I couldn't listen to another word of his vile talk. I picked up my cup of coffee and threw it in his face. Julian was drenched, but he just shot me a defiant smile and mouthed the words, "You're done for." Alex, what are you doing? The next second, Claire strode in from the entrance. She immediately put herself between me and Julian, glaring at me defensively. Alex, I thought we parted on good terms. Why are you still causing trouble for Julian? I didn't want to deal with either of them. I turned to leave, but Claire grabbed my arm and yanked me back, her face contorted with anger. Apologize to Julian? I stared at her in disbelief. Why should I apologize? He's the one who started it. Alex, she yelled again, as if her patience had reached its absolute limit. I said apologize. No one here is going to put up with your attitude. Just then, Julian reached out and patted her arm soothingly. It's okay, Claire. He just got angry and splashed me. I'm sure he knows he was wrong. I'm fine. My eyes were red with fury as I faced off against Claire. She didn't back down an inch, just stared me down. Fine. You want an apology? Finally, I shouted. I'm sorry. Then I violently shook her hand off my arm. Are you happy now? Julian told me he slept with you in high school. Said you were bad in bed and he had to teach you everything. Just now he was asking me if you were any good at taking care of me. Of course not. You're worse than a hooker from a club. Having gotten that off my chest, I bolted. As I reached the door, I turned back. Sorry, my ass. I will never apologize to a cheater and a homewrecker in my life. You two are perfect for each other. Stay together forever. Then I ran, leaving Claire's furious shouts far behind me. Back at the office, I reviewed the file I had put together. It detailed the entire history between Julian and Claire, with a special focus on how Julian knowingly became the other man in our relationship. I had originally planned to use it to threaten Julian and make him back off, but now? I thought for a moment and closed my laptop. I don't start fights, but I finish them. If Julian tried anything else, I would make him pay. With that dealt with, I went back to handling the issue with the coats. In the end, Claire must have stopped Julian from messing with me, because the manufacturer delivered the shipment on time. To be safe, I ordered a large stockpile of inventory. Next, I contacted my dad about helping me open another factory that would exclusively supply my company. Having our own factory would be more reliable in the long run. After that, Ben introduced me to 2 dependable clothing designers. They could work part-time. The base salary wasn't high, but they would get a commission on sales. The designers were incredibly hard-working, giving me over a dozen new designs in just a month. From suppliers to live stream sales, I gradually built a complete and self-sufficient business ecosystem. When my dad heard I was opening a factory, he started showing up every day with his briefcase to supervise the construction for me. I trusted him completely. After all, When he first started his business, my mom had helped him a lot. I was still swamped with work when trouble started brewing online. Julian bought a few items from my brand and posted a negative review video. He especially tore apart my best-selling winter coat. All right, guys, look at this. The streamer said it doesn't attract lint. But check this out. I just held my cat for a second and it's covered in fur. And the fit is all wrong. It's way too big and baggy. It makes me look like some kind of sleazy old man. I mean, if it looks this bad on me, it's not going to look good on you guys either. Stay away, don't buy it. And these pants, oh my God, they're already falling apart and I haven't even worn them. The quality is so bad. Look at these loose threads. Finally, at the end of the video, he demanded, "Alex's style. I want an explanation. You're tricking consumers by calling this accessible luxury. A coat for $899, but the quality is this terrible? We want justice. Give us our money back." I watched the entire video with a cold, calm expression. The comment section was a cesspool of hate. A wave of people flooded our live stream, spewing filth, their target clear. The male host on our stream was on the verge of tears, his voice cracking as he tried to present the products. Our back-end system was flooded with return requests. I waved my hand, telling him to end the stream and take a break. After thinking it over for a few minutes, I sat down in front of the camera with my laptop. If they wanted a scene, I'd give them a big one. Hi everyone, I'm the founder of the Alex's Style brand. I don't agree with the review from the user It's Majulian, and I believe it's slander. First, let me explain the relationship between us. He and Miss Claire of the Dawson Group recently went public with their relationship to much fanfare. Unfortunately, Claire is my ex-fiancée. We were engaged for 3 years. Right before our wedding, Mr. Julian knowingly became a homewrecker, stole my fiancée, and took my wedding ring. As soon as I said that, the comments section exploded with question marks. Whoa, what a story! This is some serious drama. Keep talking, streamer, don't stop! I did not see this plot twist coming. I knew it. Julian has always been a rich kid who wears clothes that cost thousands. Why would he suddenly be reviewing such a cheap brand? With the tide of public opinion turning in my favor, I carefully explained the entire dispute between us. My social media manager was quick on the uptake. As soon as I finished speaking, he had a video clip edited and posted with a clickbait headline. Shocking! Million-follower influencer is a homewrecker? The internet loves nothing more than drama. In an instant, the video had tens of thousands of views. An hour later, it had 50,000 likes, but the number of shares had already hit 170,000. My manager's eyes were glued to the analytics, wide with disbelief. This is a tidal wave of traffic, a tidal wave. Alex, we've gone viral, Alex. We've gained 50,000 followers. Where's the host? Has he recovered? Quick, get back on the live stream and sell, now. We'll call it The Real Deal's Closet. We'll specialize in taking down the other man. His shouts ignited a fire in the whole team. The host was back in front of the camera, selling with renewed passion, and the hype team was on another level. All right, guys, take a look. This is our best-selling winter coat, the very one the other man used to slander our boss. First, let's talk about the fit. Guys, is this coat sharp or what? Sharp, the hype team yelled back. Is the other man despicable? Despicable. So are we buying this coat or not? Buy. The host beamed and turned to show off the coat, continuing his pitch. That's right, guys. This is The Real Deal's Closet. With this coat, you'll never lose the fight against a homewrecker. Guaranteed family happiness. This time we are not letting the other man walk all over us. I watched the orders pour in on the back-end system. The PowerPoint presentation I had meticulously prepared was still open on my computer, unused. I thought for a moment. Even bad publicity is good publicity. This presentation laid out all the facts with evidence. Posting it would cause a massive storm online. I might as well use it to build hype for tomorrow's stream. We didn't end the live stream until we were completely sold out of every item, all thanks to the trouble Julian started. The moment we went offline, I was on the phone with the factory, placing another large order. The internet was in a complete uproar. Julian hired a bunch of bots and paid commenters to try and clean up his image, but their posts barely made a ripple in the sea of negativity. Meanwhile, his own comment section was flooded with hate. Julian's fan base was mostly male, and guys have zero tolerance for kept men and homewreckers. Overnight, he lost 200,000 followers. It was past 3 a.m., and Julian was still online, desperately trying to manage the crisis. I smiled with a sense of schadenfreude. He probably wouldn't be getting much sleep tonight. I, on the other hand, slept like a baby. The next morning, I posted the detailed presentation on social media, tagging both Julian and our live stream account. An hour later, the stream went live. Once again, we were hit with a tidal wave of traffic. That evening, I got an unexpected phone call. "Hello, Alex." It was Claire, her voice weary. "I just heard about all of this. I'm so sorry for the trouble it's caused you. I'll deal with Julian." I wasn't too concerned. "Okay," I replied coolly. Honestly, it wasn't much trouble at all. In fact, it had brought in a ton of orders. I didn't mind if he kept making a scene. In the age of viral marketing, traffic is everything. With the scandalous homewrecker story and Claire's famous name attached, this wave of attention would last me at least a week or two. "You started a company? Congratulations. I wish you all the best." I glanced at my phone, puzzled. Claire seemed to be grasping at straws, looking for something to say. "Thanks. If there's nothing else, I'm going to hang up. I wish you and Julian happiness, too." Claire let out a strange, small laugh. "Alex, there's no future for him and me." "Not my problem." I hung up and immediately called the factory again. No sooner had I ended that call than my dad called, his voice ecstatic. "Hey, Alex. Dad lined up a business partner for you. He's from the Smith family, Ethan. I used to take you to play with him when you were kids, remember?" The next day I met with Ethan. He was dressed in a sharp suit, with short, neat hair, and a bright, confident aura. When he saw me, he extended his hand. "Hi, I'm Ethan." "Hi." He gestured for me to sit. "My uncle can't stop singing your praises. Says you're steady, hard-working, and destined for success. He also mentioned your new venture. Coincidentally, I've seen some of the news online recently. Alex's style is doing accessible luxury menswear. I figured a guy like you must be in need of textiles, and as it happens, I own a fabric mill." I thought for a moment. "Can you guarantee the quality?" "Of course." He raised an eyebrow. "Top quality is a guarantee, and I can give you a discount." Hearing that, I smiled and raised my glass. "Well then, here's to a successful partnership." To our success. With that, all my supply chain worries were gone. From here on out, as long as sales stayed strong, I was set to make a healthy profit. When I got back to the office, my social media manager ran up to me. "Hey Alex, check this out. Julian apologized to us. He announced he's quitting the internet and even deleted his 1-million-follower account." I was a little surprised by this outcome. Claire was a woman of her word. She said she would handle it, and she made sure the problem disappeared. But I never expected she'd make him delete his entire account. Besides his influencer career, Julian had no other source of income. It looked like she didn't care about him that much after all. Even the one that got away eventually just becomes a stain on your shirt. For the next few months, I was buried in work. Before I knew it, the holidays were just around the corner. Ben invited me out for hot pot. We ordered the extra spicy broth. I swished a slice of beef in it, took a bite, and sighed with deep satisfaction. "Wow, this is amazing. Ben, you have no idea how busy I've been. I've barely had time to eat. This is so good." He rolled his eyes. Who knew you'd turn out to be such a workaholic? Then he leaned in to gossip. Hey, did you hear about what happened with Julian at that gala yesterday? I took a sip of Coke. What happened? Claire went to some big event and took her male assistant as her +1, not Julian. When Julian found out, he was furious. He actually showed up at the ballroom, slapped the assistant, and called him a kept man. I couldn't help but laugh. And then what? Claire is so obsessed with her public image, she must have been livid. Ben nodded in agreement. Totally. Claire's face turned black. She ripped into him right there on the spot. I heard they're fighting about breaking up now, and she apparently kicked him out of her villa. In the high society world, there are a lot of events. I used to be the one who went with Claire, but if I couldn't make it, her male assistant would fill in. It was a completely normal thing in our circle. But Julian thought the assistant was trying to seduce Claire. He made a huge, embarrassing scene at the gala, humiliating both Claire and the host. It was incredibly petty. After that incident, I heard some rumors. Claire apparently despises manipulative men. When she found out Julian had set me up with the sabotage and the review video, she left the country for work and gave him the cold shoulder for a long time. During that period, the Dawson family was also giving him a hard time. Julian had to swallow his bitterness in silence. Anyway, with all their drama and fighting, their feelings for each other faded. It was nothing like it used to be. After dinner, Ben and I went to a bar for a few drinks. I never expected to run into Claire there. She was sitting alone at a booth, drinking by herself. Her eyes lit up when she saw me, and she gestured for me to join her. Care for a drink? Before I could even sit down, she had opened a new bottle of expensive whiskey and pushed it toward me. I shook my head. No thanks. You have a boyfriend now. I'm afraid Julian will show up and slap me. She was silent for a moment, then said flatly, We broke up. In that case, we have no reason to be drinking together. I grabbed Ben and left her table. We had just sat down at another table when my phone buzzed. Claire had sent me a transfer for $5.2 million. Ben was speechless. What the hell is she trying to pull? Doesn't she know that affection that comes too late is worth less than dirt? I ignored it. She was acting crazy. I immediately transferred the money back to her. Ben and I drank until we were good and buzzed, then stumbled back to our hotel and passed out. I was woken up by a frantic call from my mom. Her voice was shrill. Oh, thank God you finally answered. Claire got into a car accident. Get yourself together and come to the hospital. I'm waiting for you at the entrance. Hurry! I froze. A car accident? Did karma really work that fast? I was bored, waiting in the car at the hospital entrance. My mom had rushed me over, but she was the one taking her sweet time. I had already been waiting here for over half an hour. A little while later, she and my dad finally showed up, their car trunk loaded with expensive gifts and fruit baskets. I got out and grabbed 2 of the boxes. I'm freezing. Let's go. Let's go, let's go. What floor was it again? The 6th, I think. When we got to the hospital room, the only person there was Julian. Claire was out getting some tests done. When he saw me, his eyes were red and swollen. He lunged at me. You bastard! This is all your fault. You just won't go away! My dad stepped in front of me and shoved him back hard. Who is this lunatic? Why are you trying to hit my son? Security! Security! Get this psycho out of here! He put his hands on his hips and started yelling. Julian, who had been pushed to the floor, screamed at me. If it weren't for you, Claire would never have left me. It's all your fault for seducing her. Why did you have to get in the middle of our relationship? I was completely baffled. Weren't you the one who took the money and left her in the first place? Now you have the nerve to blame me. And for the record, you're the other man. Other man? My dad picked up on the key word and whipped his head around to look at me. This is Claire's first love? I nodded. Yeah. The next second, my dad charged forward, grabbed Julian by the hair and slapped him hard across the face. You bastard! How dare you ruin my son's marriage? Damn it, it took me forever to get them engaged. I was finally about to elevate our family's status, and you ruined it at the last second. How dare you bully my son? How dare you destroy my family's future? My dad kept hitting him as he yelled, and Julian cried out in pain. He shouted back angrily, "You think Claire is some kind of saint? She wants to have her cake and eat it too. If she had been faithful, could I have gotten between you? Go blame her." He wasn't exactly wrong. After Claire and I broke up, I did some digging on Julian and found out he was a professional gigolo. He could have had a great future after taking the money, but after he went abroad and broke into the upper class, he found a rich, older woman and became her kept man. He spent years in a foreign country, jumping from one benefactor to another, until he messed with the wrong person and got caught by her husband. The husband was furious and threatened to destroy him. Julian got scared and fled back to the country. Not long after he returned, he hooked up with Claire again. Alex, let me tell you, Claire got into that accident protecting me. She cares about me deep down. She could never let me go. You can't compete with me. Before he could finish his sentence, my dad slapped him again. My son might not be able to compete with you, but I can sure as hell beat you. I frowned at the chaotic scene. Seeing that my dad had let off enough steam, I stepped in and pulled him back. That's enough, Dad. We're in a hospital. My dad reluctantly stood up, giving Julian one last kick for good measure. As he straightened up, he suddenly froze. I followed his gaze and saw Claire in a wheelchair at the doorway. Behind her stood her entire family. I had no idea when they had arrived, or how much they had seen and heard. My dad quickly recovered and said with a laugh, "Oh, I heard Claire got into the accident because of this guy. I was just teaching him a lesson for her." As he spoke, he tried to hide behind me, looking guilty. Beating someone up in their hospital room really wasn't a good look. I thought Claire would be furious, but she just looked at Julian coldly. "Get out. I don't want to see you again." My dad and I exchanged a look. The family's butler immediately stepped forward and started dragging Julian out. He clung desperately to Claire's wheelchair, refusing to leave, crying out, "No, Claire, you can't do this to me. You can't kick me out. I love you so much." But how could a professional gigolo know anything about love? If he loved anything, it was Claire's money. Claire reached down and pried his fingers off her wheelchair one by one. Her expression was cold and determined. The sounds of his crying faded down the hall. Claire looked at me. "All of you, please leave. I'd like to speak with Alex alone." Everyone in the room had different expressions on their faces, but in the end, they all left us alone. I watched her as she hung her head, gathering her thoughts. I had a pretty good idea of what she wanted to say, so I spoke first. "Claire, don't tell me you want to get back together." After a long silence, she mumbled, "I do, Alex. I was only with Julian to spite you. We were never right for each other. Can you forgive me?" I had to laugh. "Spite me? You were just frustrated because I rejected you, so you used Julian to make yourself feel better. But then you realized he's classless, doing nothing but spending your money and picking fights, which embarrassed you. So then you remembered how good I was. But if I got back together with you, you'd just start remembering all the good things about Julian. Familiarity breeds contempt. Claire, you don't love me and you don't love Julian. The only person you love is yourself." My words were cold and final. Claire looked down at her broken leg and suddenly covered her face with her hands and began to sob. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It was my fault. I know I was wrong, Alex." Seeing her like this, the anger that had been coiled up inside me for months finally dissipated. I let out a long sigh. "Claire, don't say things like that anymore. It makes your love and affection seem cheap." I finished speaking and turned to leave. As I passed her, she grabbed my hand. I stopped, but I didn't turn around or say anything. We stayed like that for a long time before Claire finally let go. After the new year, my factory was completed, and I launched a new live stream channel. My business was booming. On the day of the ribbon-cutting ceremony, I used some of my recent earnings to buy my dad a new Rolex worth $1.3 million. My dad couldn't stop grinning from ear to ear. The next day, he wore it out to show it off to his friends. He came back beaming. "Alex, a bunch of the old execs in my circle couldn't even get their hands on this watch. You really made your dad proud. Some people were asking about your marriage prospects, but I turned them all down. I think you should just focus on making money and forget about getting married. Ha ha ha, just think. In the future, you and your mom will be making money to support me. I'll be the happiest man alive." I laughed along with him. My dad had finally let go of his old prejudices and was no longer obsessed with social climbing. Maybe he was tired, or maybe he just felt he was too old for it. I said jokingly, "Dad, you don't have to worry about climbing the social ladder anymore. From now on, I'll be the ladder." My dad roared with laughter. Suddenly, his expression turned conspiratorial. "You remember that Julian guy? Oh man, let me tell you, his life has been a wreck recently. The guys were talking about it today. He went back to being a rich woman's boy toy, but he got her pregnant and then had the nerve to taunt her husband about it. Turns out the husband is a ruthless guy. He had Julian beaten so badly he ended up in the hospital. I hear it might affect his ability to have kids in the future." He pursed his lips. "Serves him right." After a moment, my dad asked, "Are you really not going to forgive Claire?" "No." Then my eyes fell on the new watch on my dad's wrist. He quickly covered it with his other hand. "Hey, actually, Claire didn't ask me to persuade you. She just gave me a gift." Under my steady gaze, my dad finally stomped his foot. "Fine, I'll give it back. I won't take anything from her again. From now on, you're the one who buys me things. Deal."